Hello, my name is Misha Worboys and I've just come back from competing at the Taekwondo World Cup in Argentina.
Misha, you seem to have a silver medal around your neck. Can you tell us what event you competed in and the age category and how that went?
Of course. I won the silver medal in the senior male special technique division.
Get a nice close-up of that. Alright, we'll start with why did you want to go to Taekwondo World Cup 2024?
I knew it was going to be a good experience. Traveling to South America, I was pretty keen to compete, but most importantly I knew that I could do well, so I was pretty keen to go out there and I forgot the word.
Give it a go.
Redeem.
Oh.
I also wanted to redeem myself from my last World Cup.
And what happened last time?
Last time I got out on a technical error. I placed 11th, but I knew I could have kept going.
Nice. And that was under 18 category last time?
Yeah, that was the junior category.
And this time we're in the senior.
With the big boys.
Oh yeah. Alright, so can you tell us a little bit about your training and what that looked like on a weekly basis?
I had club training 4 nights a week, and then in my own time I was going to the gym and doing things at home as well, like stretching and working out.
Nice. And how many hours was the club training every day?
That was about 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours a day of stuff, kind of. 7 hours of actual Taekwondo, I think, and then go to the gym, like maybe it'll be about like 3 hours, so that's like 10 hours, and then stretching and stuff, and leg strength and cardio I was doing. It was at least 15 hours.
You quite enjoy it, do you?
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Of course I enjoy it, but in the moment it can be pretty tough, you know. Sometimes you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to go to the gym, whatever. But afterwards, especially, you know, with some silverware, not that this matters that much, but it's just like the reward of having your hard work pay off is always really rewarding.
True.
The reward of your hard work is rewarding.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
It does make sense. Alright, so at the 6-month mark out from the competition, how are you feeling?
I was feeling pretty confident. Yeah, I was feeling really confident, and I knew I could do well. That was a big part of why I decided to commit to going. I knew the competition pretty well, and I had seen on Instagram that some Romanian had set a new national record for the high kick at 2.9 meters, and so I knew that was the biggest competition. But like I said, I was feeling pretty confident. I was hitting 2.8, and I knew that 2.9 wasn't far off, so I kind of knew that I was going to do well. I knew I was going to do well until maybe a month or two later, just at training, and I fractured my toe on one of the boards. It just kind of happened.
Did that set you back?
Yes. I could walk pretty fine, but I just couldn't jump or sprint. So basically I didn't really train for 4 or 5 weeks. It was probably a month. So that kind of sucked. But we still had a bit of time before the competition started.
So what did that do to your confidence levels coming up to the competition?
I mean, like I said, I think it was still pretty far out. So I wasn't too worried. It was just a bit annoying. And then it healed up good. And I had about a week of back to normal training. And we were sparring and I rolled my ankle. Yeah, that kind of sucked. And that was just kind of like, oh, this is annoying. And so that was probably almost another month off. Couldn't jump, that was a lot worse actually. Couldn't jump, couldn't run. And that's when I started doing a lot more cardio actually, which was good. That was a good way to get into that. But I think the whole time I wasn't too worried. Like, it was annoying, but in the back of my mind I was at peace because I kind of, without even realizing it, I think I was just kind of trusting God that everything would work out okay. Like, I wasn't too worried and I knew we still had time. I was trying to be chill about it.
Alright, and then payment for the competition was coming up, so can you tell us a little bit?
I can start with that, yeah.
About that, yeah.
So because it's an international competition, the flights are pretty expensive, and the longer you wait to book them, obviously the more expensive they get, and it can get a lot worse. So we booked those pretty early in the year. Competition was October, and we booked those in May. It was the 25th of May, and it was getting close to needing to pay for the flights. This was a Saturday. I'd just been at training, and I received an email with the invoice, but I thought I'd have plenty of time to pay for it, so I just ignored the email. And then I went to Henry Springs with Seth. That was a pretty good day. And then afterwards, it was about 7 PM, 7:30, I decided I'd check the email. So I opened it, and it turns out I was supposed to have paid the money by 4 PM that day. And I was like, oh, it's 7 PM now. I've kind of missed that, and I didn't know what to do. As well as missing the deadline, I was also $4,000 short. So in a way it was good that I'd missed it because I didn't have the money to pay for it. So I texted my dad, as I always do. I told him what had happened, that I missed the deadline. He told me I should email the travel agent and tell her that I was really sorry and ask what I should do next. So that's what I did. I emailed the travel agent at 7:39, and then at 7:47 I got a reply email saying she was out of the office until Tuesday, which was good because this was Saturday evening. It meant that I had Sunday and Monday to find $4,000. So it was like good in a sense, but also it seemed kind of impossible. And I still didn't know what to do though. And my dad told me that I should pray about it. I could probably talk to someone from church, sit down and pray with them, and try fasting as well. But I didn't really know much about fasting at that point, so I was just kind of like, what does that even mean? I don't know. It was probably just for a day. I didn't eat in the morning or afternoon. But that was on Monday that I did that. My dad also said that it's a lot of money for us, but it's not a lot of money for God. And he's saying, I'll be praying too, let's see what God does. But Sunday, 26th of May, I went to church. After church, I checked my phone and saw that I had a text from Inland Revenue that read, log into my IR to review new correspondence from Inland Revenue. So that was pretty like boring and uninteresting, so I didn't really care about it.
Nice.
Like, I have no clue what that means. Like, what? And after church, I talked to my pastor, Mark, and I just told him the situation. I was like, can we pray about this? And he obviously was happy to. So we sat down, we prayed about it, and that was really cool. I remember I told like the youth pastor, I was like, this is kind of sucky. He's like, I think you said to pray about it, I don't know. I told a couple of people about it. Yeah. At church, and they said they would pray. Cool.
So we had some people praying already. Chappy lips. Where's my chapstick?
I probably went to work that day.
So were you thinking about it a lot?
I don't actually know. I don't remember. I think I kind of was trusting what my dad said, that God would sort it. I'd either get the money and go, or I wouldn't, and then I guess I wouldn't be able to go, so I think I was just kind of in a good place of trusting God that whatever happened would happen for the right reason.
And His will.
So that evening, I reached out to my
fellas.
Yeah. I reached out to the fellas on the Fellowship of the King Instagram group chat. I said, hey guys, I basically need $4,000 in 2 days, and I've got no clue how that's going to happen. It seemed pretty impossible. I asked if you guys could pray about it. The more the merrier. No.
True. I mean, yeah, that's true.
No, it was nice to know that I was being supported, because I was pretty, I don't know, it felt pretty kind of wild. It was like, this is a lot of money that I don't have, and I need to have it in 2 days. Like, it's impossible.
Like how does that happen?
Yeah.
What did you do after you reached out to the boys and girls of the fellowship?
I went to bed.
Of course, everyone on the chat was like, of course, we'll pray for you. That's crazy. And then
early Monday morning, some of my friends reached out to me offering to give me money. I had a $100 donation from Jesse and a $200 donation from, so that was really amazing to see that they were supporting me in that kind of a way as well. So thankfully Monday was my day off, so that meant that I could spend the morning praying because I needed the money by tomorrow.
Do you remember any specific prayers that you prayed? No?
I think it was more just about, the thing, I didn't really know what to pray. There wasn't much to pray. I was just kind of like, God, I'm trusting that this is your will, and if it's not, then, It wasn't like asking for money. I was just kind of trusting that whatever happened was God's will, I think.
That's right. That's
trusting that nothing's too big for Him.
Say if you were fasting or whatever.
I decided I wasn't going to eat. I was going to reject my flesh in order to focus on the Spirit.
The flesh.
I don't think I should say that because I just didn't really. I was just like, I'm not going to eat and I'm going to focus on praying. But it was pretty unfocused.
And just give it.
I think I just got distracted, and then I was like, I'm bored. I'm going to check that text now. I tried fasting that morning as well. Like, I wasn't going to eat and I was just going to focus on praying. But I didn't really know the reason why I was fasting. I just was told that I should.
Nice.
And I've learned more about it now. So probably like an hour or two later, I got kind of bored. So I remembered about that text I got yesterday from IRD. So I logged in, saw I had some notification, I opened it, and it read, income tax assessment. You have a refund of $3,492.92.
Hey, yo. That's crazy. Tell us what you were feeling in that moment. What was your initial reaction?
I just think I couldn't believe it. It was like the fact that that was so much money and it was like almost everything that I needed was insane. Like, I never experienced anything like that. I was just like, I was mind blown.
Mind blown.
I just couldn't I just couldn't comprehend it. I couldn't understand how that had even happened.
That's insane.
So along with the $3,500 tax refund, some generous donations from my friends, I only needed $150.93 to complete the amount of money that I needed for the invoice. And I didn't really care because it's only $150 compared to the almost $4,000 I had. Like, surely.
God's got you that far. He won't let you miss out on $150.
Exactly. I'm not too sure how long later. Could have been 20 minutes. I remembered that my dad had set up a GoFundMe page, so I thought I'd just check it, because why not? And guess how much money had been donated?
Tell me, Misha, how much?
Guess.
$150.
$150, baby! I had all the money I needed within like the span of 2 days. I had $4,000 just spawn out of nowhere, basically.
Bro. How much did the total of the competition cost? Like, for all the payments?
I don't know, I don't want to think about it.
It was like...
There was more than that.
$8,000.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So that's the remainder. And that is impossible.
I already paid a couple thousand, and I also went overseas the year before that. That was like probably another 8 to 10,000, and then the year before that as well, which I still owe my parents for. But last year I was able to pay all of it from working, but it just wasn't quite the same this year, and I had a bit more savings last year. I did tell my coach about it, and she said that if I ever need help, she can help me out. But the thing is, I still owe my parents money. There was no way that I could pay off someone else, and I did not like the idea of being in debt to someone. If I'm going to keep doing this until I can start figuring out how to get the cash machine flowing, like, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay someone off. So I'm really thankful that the money came in the way that it did. Even if someone had actually gifted me the money, like, I couldn't have accepted that. It would have had to be anonymous. There's no way I could have accepted money from someone. It would have had to have been anonymous. And so the fact it came the way that it did is just amazing. It came the way that I needed it, without debt owing to anyone.
Literally the best way it could have happened.
Yeah.
Insane.
And some people have said to me, well, you should change your tax code so that you don't get all that money taxed off you. But what if I wanted to buy something, you know, all that money, wait, let's just figure it out, because it's for the year, right? So it was $3,500 over 52 weeks. That's an extra $67 a week, which is not actually that much if you think about it, over the year.
But it stacks.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, it's only an extra $67, so I easily could have spent that each week. And so I wouldn't have had that money. Exactly. It was basically like an easy way of saving it without me even realizing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so you could say, well, you should change your tax code so that you don't get taxed as much. But I could have easily spent the money, and then I wouldn't have had a way to pay for this. Like,
exactly.
It was saved perfectly. It was done perfectly, so that when I needed it, it was there.
All in God's perfect plan.
All in God's perfect plan.
Literally everything lined up so perfectly.
So
like
perfectly.
It was impossibly done.
Just like one thing fell into the other. Everything just fell into place. Like, it's like dominoes. It's like, do, 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 do. Like, in short, I missed the deadline, which was perfect because I didn't have the money for it. Then I emailed the travel agent, and she wasn't going to be back until Tuesday, which means that I had 2-3 days to get this money, which is perfect. And then I got the money when I needed it. Like, you know, it just worked out. It just worked out so perfectly.
I'm ready. I'll talk from just since I first knew about it.
Your lips are a bit dry. You need some chapstick.
What the bruh? I got a notification pop up on my phone, and I didn't click on it, but I like pulled it open and like read Misha was saying that he needed like $4,000 in like a couple days, and I'm just like, hey. I wanted to like look, but I was about to have a shower, so I was just like praying about it, and then I felt God say that he wanted Misha to be there. He wanted Misha to go there, and that he had a really incredible plan. And then he was like, I want you to give Misha $100, and then I'm going to do the rest. That's what I heard. So you do what you can do to help him out, and I'll do the rest. And then I was like, yeah, nice. And then so I finished my shower, open my phone. Obviously, everyone was already saying a bunch of stuff, and I'm just like joining in on their conversation. Oh yeah. And then I was like scrolling through the chat. Everyone's like, yo, I got you, Misha, I got you. And I was like, yeah, I got you as well. If it's God's will, it's gonna happen. It seems impossible when you need $4,000 in like a couple days.
It was. I mean, it was impossible.
Our minds were like thinking of how we could like somehow get that money, or how he could get that money. But like on the inside, we're like, only God could do that.
Impossible.
Like
for
there's
man.
no way.
Impossible for man, possible for God.
Exactly. Because God works the impossible. So, what seems impossible for us, for God, is easy peasy. Like he can easily do that, and he did, which is crazy. But I'll get to that. So we went to sleep, and I was just praying about it, and everyone else was praying about it as well. I assume because it's a pretty crazy big deal. But I did hear the voice of God say that he was gonna get Misha there. So I was confident, but it was like not an earthly. It was like a Pastor David says. A Godfidence. We got Godfidence. It's like a godly confidence in what God's gonna do. And that's what I was feeling. But obviously, the flesh is just like, nah, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna happen. But I knew in the spirit that it would happen. And anyway, we went to bed praying. Woke up in the morning praying. I hadn't given Misha the money yet. Went onto my bank at 11:28 in the morning. I just looked at the bank statement and gave him $100, and then was like, yo, I got you. Some other people did as well, which is cool, which was really cool.
Said that she's not going to stand in the way of what God's trying to do.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was one of the messages. Because like, if God wants you somewhere, and he's asked me to help, why would I not help?
Yeah.
It's like, it's just money. Some things are more important as well. I felt good giving. It felt like the right thing, which I think it was. Well, it was. Couple hours pass, Misha messages the group chat. He's like, guys, exclamation mark.
I don't know if I quite said it like that.
Right there. He sent this income tax assessment, and I said, all caps by the way, no freaking way, watatataya, exclamation mark. God is so good in a way, I'm actually in awe. Misha's like, yo, that's crazy, upside down exclamation mark, that was pretty whack.
My inner Spanish.
And yeah, it's just my message was, I literally was just talking to God about the situation, and he said, you do what you can do to help and I'll do the rest. And then I turn my phone on and see this, and literally, like, that's crazy. Like, you're praying about one thing, and then next moment your friend messages the chat saying, yo, just got $4,000 out of nowhere. The night before, he messaged the chat saying that he needed $4,000, and then the next day, like, that just doesn't happen. That does not happen. And it did, and that was crazy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that is a crazy testimony. And I said the whole time Misha gave it to God and knew that it was his will that would be done, and if it was his will, he would provide, and then bam. And it is a very good testimony. I've shared it to many people, and it's been a good conversation starter as well.
Really?
Like, yeah, and
How
I
do you
told
start
it,
the story?
it's just like things come up and then you're like, yo, my friend Misha, he's like going to, because I always talk to people about how you were going to Argentina for World Cup, and everyone's like, yo, that's mad impressive. And then that story just comes up because I'm just like telling them how it happened. It's real cool because it's like you tell them and they can't deny it because it's like
it happened.
It actually happened, and we were right there,
yeah,
witnessing it and a part of it. Share it at youth group, at church, all over the place. Yeah. And it's so good. And I told one of the other leaders from youth group when it first happened, he found it really awesome that you, Misha, like reached out to the body of Christ, like, because you knew that only God could do it, and that you were saying you were fasting, and you didn't even know what it was really, but you were fasting and praying and just trusting that God would have it. And that was really inspiring as well, because a lot of people would just be like, oh, it's impossible, there's no way, I give up, and then just give up, and then they would have just not done it. But you decided to trust in God that whole time and give it to him, and he provided, which is really cool. But yeah, it's real cool. If you give it to God, he'll provide, if it's his will. And it was, obviously. And I knew it! That's crazy. But it's expected. You know, if you're living for God and trusting in his plan, things like this are going to happen. And that's why
It's so exciting!
Nice. Alright, back to Misha.
So I was pretty recovered from my injuries about a couple months out, which is actually not that far away from when I was leaving. So that was kind of scary because I was not where I used to be. Like I was hitting 2.8 on the high, 1.6 on the side, and I was like, it was terrible. It felt like I'd forgotten how to jump. Like the timing and the rhythm and just being able to jump without pain, it was pretty tough to navigate because it felt pretty hard. It felt kind of useless and I didn't know what to do. But I just had to start somewhere, just slowly making my way back. Couldn't push it too hard, otherwise I hadn't jumped in a while, so my knees and shins were not too happy, especially because I got into it pretty quickly. I should have been a bit more slower, but it ended up being okay, like it wasn't too bad. Before I left, I managed to hit 2.7 on the high, just touched 2.8, and then I did clear 1.6 a few times. So it was really tough for a while. I was really frustrated, a bit stressed out because I was doing pretty bad and I was struggling. Like I said, it felt like I'd forgotten how to jump. I was struggling to hit the heights I was hitting 4 months ago, but it slowly turned around and I gained a bit more confidence by the end of it. But I had to really trust God that everything was going to be okay, because it was the week before I left that I hit the heights that I wanted to be hitting, even not quite, you know. So it was real jam-packed, like right up to the last week, you know. So it took a lot of trust and patience and faith.
So let's talk about leaving day.
I left the airport on Thursday morning. My good friends Simon and Mackenzie dropped me off at the airport, and I flew from Christchurch to Auckland to Santiago to Buenos Aires. I was pretty excited, but also pretty nervous, really nervous. So I think it was about 20 hours of travelling. Arrived in Buenos Aires 10 p.m, took a taxi to my hotel, and then the following morning I walked to the bus stop, met with the team, and it was a 5-hour bus ride to Mar del Plata in Argentina, which is a really lovely beach town. And then the next few days we just did whatever we wanted really, and we just had a 1-hour training session each day, just keeping it light, keeping moving and all that. And we didn't wear sunscreen the first time, and basically everyone was like burnt the next day. I was pretty nervous to compete. I mean, I was pretty confident as well. I knew that I could do well, and I got back to a point that I was happy with before I left. But obviously nervous. So that morning, I just listened to worship music for a lot of it on the bus ride there. And when we got to the venue, it wasn't open for another 45 minutes. So I just lay on the ground that whole time, just listening to praise and worship. And that was pretty cool because it just took my mind off of it. How we focus on God, and it really just kept me at peace. It was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so my event started 9 a.m. I was 17th up, so I think I was within the first hour. I was warmed up pretty well.
What were you feeling as you were about to go up?
I was pretty confident. I think I just remember being confident and kind of trusting God. Like I got on the mat. Yeah, I was just kind of telling myself that. I don't know if you can see in the live stream.
Who knows?
But I was kind of just talking to myself, and I was like, all for your glory, Lord. And just trust, and then I just do it, and it worked. I mean, no, not that worked, but I got the first 2 heights, and so I was on to the next round, and then it was back to the warm-up area for another hour.
What were the first 2 heights for the first round?
1.4 on the side kick, and then 2.6 on the high kick.
Nice.
And during the competition, after my first round, one of the other guys from New Zealand mentioned how he had a sore back, and I felt like I should pray for him, so I was pretty happy that I could step out in faith and ask if he wanted prayer, and he was pretty accepting of that, so that was pretty cool as well. And I think as well, sometimes I'd make excuses in a situation like that, like I need to focus on this competition, or I need to, stay to myself. So I was pretty happy that during a competition I was able to kind of put the competition aside and pray for this guy, because sometimes I'd use that as an excuse, like I need to focus on what I'm doing. So that was really cool, and I'm really happy that I was able to step out in faith.
Mm.
And I did message him after the competition when I remembered about it, and he said that it was feeling better, so
Nice.
that's pretty cool. Second round was a 2.7 metre high kick, and by that point there was just 3 of us left out of 73. 3 of us left out of 73 after the first round. And it's a lot of people, so it's quite shocking.
Yeah.
So first was the Polish dude. He missed. And it was me. 3 points, baby.
Oh yeah.
I got it. And then the Canadian got it as well, which meant that it was me and the Canadian for the playoff. In the playoff for gold and silver. So it went to a 1.5 side kick. I went first, and I was just standing there. I was thinking to myself, or talking out loud, all for your glory, Lord, trusting your plan. Ran, jumped, cleared it, kicked it, and I landed, and I was like, yes. And I was standing there, and I kind of turned around, and I said that the board's only half turned, and I was kind of like, oh, so just 1 point? I wasn't too sure, but I was kind of like, I wasn't scared, and I think I wasn't too worried as well, because I was trusting of God's plan. I was pretty at peace, and I knew that whatever happened was God's will. And so it was Canadian's turn. Bro was short, but he could jump. He went flying over, full 3 points, and it was pretty anticlimactic. I was just kind of like, I think you won. And he's like, are you sure? Didn't you just get it? I'm like, I think I only got 1 point. And he's like, oh. And I was kind of like, yay. And then it was real anticlimactic. But yeah, I think I'm happy. I know it's not very humbling to say this, but I'm happy that I wasn't like, you know, it wasn't some big celebration, you know, because I was just thankful to be there and to do as well as I did. Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was really cool actually. I do think if it had gone to another playoff, that I could have potentially won, because it would have been 2.8 on the high kick, and I've got that before. But I know that the Canadian, he told me afterwards that he hasn't had that before, so I would have been in the chance of getting the gold. So we were pretty close. And in Slovenia 2 years ago at the last World Cup, the reason I got out then again was on the same kick as this time. Both times it was the side kick. Last time I hit with the wrong part of my foot apparently, and this time I only turned the board halfway. So it's always a technical error, which kind of bums me out because it's never actually, you know, going to my physical limits. It's always just something little that I get out by, which means I know that I can keep going and do better because I've still got a lot more in the tank. So I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Yeah. 2026, here we come.
Yeah, boy. Or even next year. It's quite heavy actually. We should weigh it.
Oh yeah.
Should I
I'm saying 250 grams.
Comment down below how heavy you think this medal is. I'm gonna go weigh it. 265.
Bro, I was 15 grams off. Tell the camera.
Chat. 265 grams.
Bro, I was close.
Yeah, it was pretty close.
I've only held it once.
True.
Main event's over. What comes next?
Yeah, so specialty was my main event, but because I was there, I thought that I should spar as well and do patterns, give it a go. Which I was pretty nervous to spar, to be honest, but I'm really happy that I did it now. I think I was pushing myself out of my comfort zone a lot, but I did get to the third round, so I won my first and second rounds of sparring, both to Argentinians, and then I lost to the world champion from Ukraine in the third round. So I'm not complaining about that.
Hey.
So I think I ended up fifth in my division for sparring. And then patterns, I won the first round. It overheated and stopped recording. So we gotta start again.
So, from patterns.
I don't remember what we talked about. So I won the first round of patterns and then lost the second, but it's okay. I'm still really happy that I did it. I wasn't expecting too much from it. Bro, I can't remember.
I can't believe it.
I was just selected as one of the 6 for team sparring, which is pretty cool considering I was chosen over some other people, but I didn't end up on the floor, which is okay because I would have been rolled.
Alright, so coming up to Misha's competition, I was ready with the live stream, so I was waiting, doing some editing, looking back and forth every now and then until it started. I think it started at like 1 a.m. for me or something.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting. Not many people were hitting the heights, and I was like, let's go. Nice, nice. Most people were getting the fly kick, like the side kick, but not many people were getting the front kick. And I think one person got it before Misha went, and then Misha's coming up. I'm like,
I was 17th, right?
yeah, at the start I was like, yo, where's Misha? I can't see him, because I was looking for someone real tall, and I was like, man, they must all be really tall. But then as soon as Misha came up, he's just like towering over everyone else. And I'm just like, hey, that's definitely him. And it's good this time they had the names and country and everything on the underneath thing. 2 years ago they didn't have that. He was walking up and I'm just like praying. I'm like, come on, God's will be done. I was like shaking. I was like, surely just make it past the first round. The front kick, got it, and I was like, yeah, come on. Because like only one other person had hit it at that point, and that must have been Polish guy, yeah. And he went to the next kick, got it perfectly, and I was like, yes. And then I was like, I can relax for a bit. So it's just like the couple minutes of just like, come on. Bro. Whole time praying though, which was good. Then I watched the next like 60 something people do their jumps really slowly.
It was over an hour.
Over like 2.5 hours.
I think it was an hour and a half after like.
It
was at least an hour over from.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So Misha disappeared. I was watching the next people. Kept failing the high kick. I think 2 other New Zealanders kicked it, but they only hit it to the first click, so they got 1 point instead of 3. Yeah, so Misha was tied in first for like the whole thing, and then the Canadian guy came up, did it real nice. Only 3 people got a perfect score in the first round, which means they were tied for first. So Misha, Lucas Feely, shout out, and Polish dude McGee.
And Matus.
What?
Matus Mroz.
Matus Maros. Something like that. Anyway, next event was probably like 2:30 by the time Misha went for his next one. The Polish guy went first, he kicked and he missed. And I was like, not necessarily like excited because I was like, doesn't really matter too much. But I was excited for Misha. And I was just praying for God's will to happen because that's what we want. And then Misha did his kick, cleared it. I was like, yo, if this next guy misses, Misha's won. I was praying that he does a good job, the other guy, and he did do a good job. He kicked it, not as easy as Misha, but still pretty easy. I mean, this didn't happen, but I'll share it anyway. I felt God say that Misha was going to come first, or he was going to win, whatever that looked like. So I thought it was gold, but maybe winning in God's eyes for that specific thing was the placing that Misha got. So I don't know. Maybe second place was the win that God was wanting for Misha. And I think it was because obviously God's plan, God's will happened. And it's still going. And then went off to the next thing, the fly kick, side fly kick.
Side fly kick.
That's what it's called, right? The one where he kicked sideways. He kicked it real hard and I was like, let's go, easy peasy. But they only put 1 point on the thing and I was like, hey, bro kicked that real hard, what's going on? And then Misha was saying how he thinks that he hit maybe too close to the arm, so the power from his kick twisted the actual board thing round, which didn't put as much power into the little lever thingy, the kick board, and so it didn't go all the way. And I didn't really notice that at the time.
I didn't know either.
Just like in Slovenia where I thought he'd made it, but it was a technical error that he got out, and that was pretty sad.
Yeah.
And then the other guy did it, got a whole 3 points, and it was done. And I was like, man, I really felt God say that Misha was going to come first. I don't know what's going on. But I was still really excited because that's pretty sick coming second. But now I think I've realized that maybe, like I was saying, second place was the win for God's plan. Maybe this testimony gets shown to millions of people and changes the world and people's lives. By the time I got off the live stream, it was like 4:11 a.m. and yeah, it was pretty sick. I was praying that whole time, like literally the whole time. And then I went to sleep, woke up the next day, it was like, yo, how did Misha do? I was like, he came second. He was like, yo, Israel. And then my mom came in, she's like, did Misha come second? And I was like, yeah! And it was pretty cool. And then
you put it on your Instagram.
Put it on Instagram, some guy commented, and he's like, this guy's literally like twice as tall as everyone else out there. And I was like, yeah, he's built for it.
I mean, it's like telling sumo wrestlers that they're not allowed to be heavy. It's like,
yeah, exactly. If you're built for it,
yeah,
why not? It's like that one deadlifter who's got like really long arms and he only has to lift it like that.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Because it takes a lot of hard work and dedication. Because how long have you been doing Taekwondo for?
Taekwondo, like 9 years, but
yeah,
the specialty probably like 2 to 3 years. Like focused on that.
There we go. So it does take dedication and hard work, and most importantly, putting God in the center. And that's good, because it means you can not necessarily come first, and still filled with the joy of the Lord, because you know that you've gone there for a purpose, and you know everything happens for a reason, and that God's plan is better than ours every single time. And who knows, like there's some things, well, we don't really know why second, but looking back in like 10 years from now, or even like a year from now, we might know exactly why. So that's just something we can look forward to as well, and keep trusting that no matter what happens, God's got us. And when we trust in Him and give it all to Him, even when we're not sure, even when it seems impossible, that He's got it sorted, got the bigger picture. So competition's all done. How are you feeling after that?
Pretty relieved, to be honest. It was pretty surreal, the fact that the competition had finished, because it was a year building up to it, and for it to just be kind of done all like that was pretty crazy. It just happened so fast. So day after the competition ended, took a bus back to Buenos Aires, stayed there for 3 days, and then went to Santiago, and I was there for 2 days before flying back to Nueva Zelanda. Right, that's how they say it in Spain.
That's kind of cool. That's better than the way we say it.
Yeah, over the course of the trip I was able to talk to a few people about, God and faith and the idea behind intelligent design of the earth and how it can't just be an accident. So that was really cool. I talked to a couple of people on the plane, had some really good chats with my roommate Marco about God, which was really awesome as well. And then as well being able to pray for Sean and step out in faith like that. I didn't really say anything convicting to anyone. There was nothing like, you gotta believe in Jesus and this is the truth kind of thing. Everyone I talked to seemed to almost have a faith background, apart from Sean, but that wasn't really a conversation. So I think I'm kind of thankful that that was the case. And so in those situations I was able to kind of grow more in faith and become more bold about just stepping out and being more open about my faith. So I think that was really cool as well. I still don't really know why God wanted me there. I mean, it was obvious that He wanted me there because He provided miraculously. But I don't know what part of it was why He wanted me there. Was it so that I could get a silver medal? Was it so that I could pray for Sean or talk to those people about God? Or to build relationships with people, experience the whole tournament? Like, it could be one of those or it could be everything. I mean, I do think that everything that happened for a reason, so. But it's, it's still kind of hard to pin the tail of the donkey. Why was I there? Why did God want me there?
And maybe it's still happening. Maybe that reason...
The reason that I was there is so that the future could happen.
And to share about what God's done.
Yeah, to be able to share, to have a testimony.
Like this video.
Yeah, like this video. Speaking of liking this video.
I was thinking that.
It's like, I don't know what impact the conversations I had on people, or the impact that me being there had on anyone, or on myself. But I trust that God will work through the moments that I had with people, or the moments that I had with myself, and what I experienced and what I did for His glory. And, because I talked to someone, I don't know what kind of an impact that's going to have on them, but something amazing could come out of that for them. Sometimes you don't always see the fruit of the seeds that you plant.
Amen. Good stuff.
Oh, I talked about how I was channeling my stress, that's right.
Yes.
Prior to this competition, particularly at a training camp I was at a few months ago, I was pretty nervous to be there, like really nervous. And instead of kind of going to God with that anxiety, I just went to my phone and scrolled through YouTube shorts to try kind of escape that fear. And I know that wasn't a good way of doing it, but that's what I did. But this competition, like I said before, I spent a lot of time listening to worship music beforehand, and I feel like that was me kind of going to God with that anxiety, because it gave me a lot of peace as well, and it was really, really comforting. It was really comforting. Yeah, I was nervous to be there, I was nervous to compete, but I just kind of tuned into God and put in my praise and worship, and it really brought me down to earth, and it gave me a lot of peace. So I'm really happy that I made that progress. I kind of I made that growth from trying to hide that anxiety or push it away just by going to social media, to actually kind of going to God with that anxiety this time, which was nowhere near as high as well, especially from the things I've been telling myself and listening to music and praying and
Cheer, bro.
Yeah,
Cheer, brother. So what do you think the main lesson you've learned through this experience and this journey has been?
trust. I think a big part of it has definitely been trust. I had to trust God that He would provide me with the money to get there. I had to trust that I was going to recover from my injuries. I had to trust that no matter what happened, it was God's will and it was for God's glory that I was there. And so it doesn't matter how well I did, I was still able to give glory to God.
And I was saying how, because you said something and then I kind of brought it back to the trust thing, because it was like,
yeah,
the whole trip was like in a circle of trust. Like, you got like a circle.
Yeah, and I think I just cut straight to the circle there, which...
Yeah, with trust, and then everything from the trip is within that circle,
Mhm.
and God's like on the outside just holding it, kind of thing, which is cool.
This was more so like leading up to the comp throughout the year rather than the actual competition itself. But I've been struggling with putting expectations on myself from other people, and I don't get quite nervous about how I do because I was worried about what people would think of me, fellow competitors, spectators, and so on. And so I was able to learn that the only person whose opinion matters is God's, and all God asks of me is that I do my best. And so when I do my best, I don't need to be bothered about what anyone else thinks or says about me, because I know that God, the most important being, is happy with how I'm doing, purely because I'm trying my best and it's not performance based. I hope that some of you guys find this inspiring or encouraging or motivating, and just know that whatever challenge you face, God is with you through it all. And my main takeaway from this will be that if you trust God and put Him at the centre of whatever you do, then anything is possible. Thanks for watching, guys. We hope you enjoyed that video. Please let us know if that has impacted you in any way. We'd love to hear what you think about it. And yeah, please like and subscribe. I'm also very grateful for all the support that I received. I couldn't have done it without the supporters, my coaches, my family and friends. Yeah. I just cut it. Don't forget, Jesus loves you. Let's go. The sign.